I'm Jennifer Dewar-Thomas. I'm based in Egon Zender's Toronto office, and I'm here with Katie Taylor, who chairs the Royal Bank of Canada Board, former CEO of Four Seasons, and a very experienced board director who sits on a range of boards today. So Katie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. It's a pleasure to be part of such an exciting project.
Why don't we start with just really understanding the journey at RBC on diversity?
Well, building a great board is a long-term proposition. You have to be very planful and very thoughtful. And one of the things that's changed in the landscape since I became a director is the turnover on boards. With both term restrictions, ours are 15 years, age restrictions, ours are 70. When those were introduced, all of a sudden we found, wow, directors are actually renewing and retiring at quite a rapid rate. But what that meant for us was that we had an opportunity and a challenge in the sense of succession planning. Today, we keep a list of ready now directors. We keep a list of evergreen directors who aren't really ready at this point for long-term planning. And built into that, of course, is gender and non-gender diversity.
Katie, there's been a lot of pushback or challenge from other boards saying it's too hard to figure out how to have a diverse slate or build the right board, but clearly you have cracked it. What has been most challenging about that?
The most challenging part, of course, is making sure you're getting the right range of experiences for the company that you are stewards of. And then, of course, you think about how much more high performing a board is known to be if it is diverse. For women, that's essentially come out at critical mass of at least 3. But of course, lots of boards have moved beyond that in terms of their own target percentages. And of course, the culture and background diversity is as important as well. You need to be representative of the communities that you serve.
In the past, there's been a lot of commentary and sort of speculation on quotas. Do they work? Do they not? What is your perspective on board quotas?
My own view on quotas and targets is that sometimes quotas can do a little bit more to push the agenda along, but targets, these are very effective as well. And I've always said to people, particularly those who say they're not in favor of quotas, let's go with some reasonable timeframes and some targets that make sense. Let's measure our progress against them. Let's make this part of our human capital strategy.
Katie, as you think about organizations that haven't had the success in creating as diverse boards as the boards that you're serving on, what, in your view, is getting in their way?
One can be the existing composition of the board. Change takes catalyst and takes a spark. In the last couple of years, that influence has come a lot from institutional investors. And so that has forced governance committees to think differently about their succession planning. I think there also is sometimes a view that we just don't know any women or we just don't know any BIPOC candidates. And that's often true. We've seen from the research, that like hires like and like attracts like. And so we shouldn't at all be surprised that we need to come outside the bounds of what we might normally think of as our regular search process.
Katie, you mentioned a term BIPOC. Tell us a little bit about how things have changed given the events that have happened in the spring and how the conversation has shifted when it comes to social issues.
Well, the tragic killing of George Floyd really ignited a spark under the movement for greater racial equity. And that movement has really spread across the globe and increased calls at all levels for organizations to take a much different view of their own ability to advance the careers and the opportunities for Black, Indigenous, and people of color. The Black North Initiative has been off to a fantastic start. Other companies have announced their own corporate pledges to advancing the interests of BIPOC candidates within their own organizations. So there's a real range of activities going on now. And so, seeing these initiatives through is going to be the big work over the next few years.
When you think about the future of boards and composition and structure and inclusion, diversity, what is most exciting to you when you look forward about what could be?
We thought the pace of change pre-COVID-19 was fast, but boy, were we wrong. The big takeaway for me there is that it wasn't that things couldn't move faster, it's that we didn't want them to move faster. What we take forward here is the knowledge and the conviction and the courage that can happen much more quickly than we might have thought if we want to put the resources and the expenditures related to it to work.